It's official. Greece has come to Pokemon. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another episode of PokeTalk. And today's episode of PokeTalk is going to be my review on the latest episode of Pokemon Pocket Monsters 2019, Episode 7, the Hoenn Region, Site of Fierce Fights, the Battle Frontier Challenge. And I gotta be honest with you guys, although this episode didn't have the cameo in it that people were kind of hoping it would have, I was one of those people. But even with that though, and despite that not happening, this was still a really decent episode in my opinion. I enjoyed it, and the new character that we got introduced to, Hoji, really just describes basically what I said earlier. Greece has come to Pokemon. We'll talk about that soon enough. We'll talk about Hoji, and we'll talk about the episode. So at risk of further rambling, let's move on to the actual episode. So the episode begins with none other than our newest Bug Master, Go, Koharyu, Professor Sakuragi, and Go's bug Pokemon, and they're basically following the movements of Mr. Mime, and Mr. Mime is kind of doing some kind of aerobics. I guess that's really how you would describe it. I have no other words for that, but they're following Mr. Mime's movements almost verbatim, and he's basically training them, and this is of course interrupted when Ash throws Go his bag and says, "Come on, Go, we're going to the Hoenn region." And I was kind of surprised that Ash just suddenly threw that out there. A little bit sudden, not gonna lie. So basically we learned that Ash wanted to go to the Hoenn region to compete in the Battle Frontier Flute Cup, and he's going to battle with Pikachu and another Pokemon, although when Go tries to elaborate, he doesn't say. And Go decides his two Pokemon that's going to go into this is going to be Scorbunny and Scyther. Scyther, of course, being an obvious pick because of last episode and just Scyther's personality. That is Go's battler bug, in my opinion. So really glad that we were going to see Scyther battle in that. But anyway, when Ash and Go arrive at the Hoenn region, they run into Hoji, and Hoji is, if you guys have ever seen the movie, or the play rather, of Grease, you would get what I'm talking about. Hoji is this black leather jacket wearing, hair slicked back kind of guy, straight out of the 70s there, and Grease was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw Hoji. But anyway, Hoji comes in, Ash and Go immediately spark a rivalry with him, and Go actually tries to capture his Mightyena, which is kind of funny there. It's a bit of a running gag there. Tries to capture it, is unable to, and yeah, that's how Go's interaction with Hoji begins, is he tried to capture his Pokemon. But nonetheless, these three spark up a rivalry, and it turns out they're all going to participate in the Frontier Flute Cup. And Go goes into this, and Go gets destroyed. He sends in Scyther first, and he ends up going up against Hoji and Mightyena, and they just destroy Go. First they destroy Scyther, then they destroy Scorbunny. Go really had no chance in this battle at all. And then Ash ends up fighting Hoji and wins, and ends up winning the Frontier Flute Cup and wins flutes as a reward. And the battle with Ash, though, is interesting because Ash goes into battle with Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime, of course, battles Hariyama. Hariyama is defeated by Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime refuses to battle anymore. So then Pikachu's left to go in and defeat Mightyena, and Ash does what Go is unable to, and Ash wins the cup there. So I do want to say this, though, about this. Go, being the battle rookie, was not surprising he was going to lose, and I really do love this dynamic here between Ash and Go. Just off of a side note, the dynamic between Ash and Go has been kind of like they're friends, but they're kind of like brothers, you know? And Go is basically the brainy one, and Ash is the brawn. He's the better battler. And so I kind of love this dynamic here, and this episode kind of demonstrated that to me a bit, in my opinion. So Go losing was not entirely surprising. Ash, of course, being the Alola region champion, not surprising that he was going to destroy this battle and, of course, win. And once the Battle Cup is over and Ash and Go return to the Sakuragi Institute, Go reveals that he has not only captured Tailo, he's also captured these three Wurmple, much to Koharyu's kind of questionable. She basically turns to Go and is like, seriously, what is it with you and the bugs? And, Go is just, he's the catching rampage here. What can I say? So even with that, though, that's where the episode leaves off on that. So yeah, pretty decent episode. I did like how we see Mr. Mime battle. This is the first time, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, we've seen Mr. Mime battle since way back in the original saga. So yeah, that was interesting as well. It's very interesting that Mr. Mime battled so fluently with Ash, and they were just fluid. It's like Mr. Mime was Ash's Pokemon all along. You gotta love that. The battle was great. Hoji was great. Overall, decent episode, like I said before. I cannot say that enough because I know people were disappointed with the last episode. This episode was definitely better, in my opinion. Overall, though, I give this episode an 8 out of 10. It was a decent episode, a good episode in that respect, and it again showcases the relationship and friendship between Ash and Go. Go being the brains, Ash being the brawn, in my opinion. But with that said, though, as always, in the comments section down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts were about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What are your thoughts? Just let me know in the comments section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. Alright everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye everybody.